South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Hi there and welcome to Headliners. I'm Lauren Pastrana. We begin with a story you'll see only on CBS News Miami. 11 years after a 4-year-old is found dead in a Coral Springs apartment, his mother is now charged with murder. The dependency judge who presided over the original case says the Department of Children and Families should never have reunited the child with his mother. That judge spoke exclusively with CBS News Miami's Betty Nguyen.
I mean, can you imagine this little guy? He deserves so much better.
Former Judge Elizabeth Scherer is talking about 4-year-old Antoine Hope. His mother is now charged with suffocating him over a decade ago. You may remember former Judge Scherer from the Parkland School shooter trial. Before that, she was a dependency judge presiding over child welfare cases and was assigned to Antoine's case.
The department is in violation of this court's order.
Back in June 2013, Judge Scherer blasted the Department of Children and Families for reuniting Antoine with his mother, who had already lost custody, had a history of mental illness, and was previously accused of attempting to suffocate the child.
This court gave very clear instructions, both orally on the record and by written order, that the child was not to spend the night unsupervised until a positive home study was filed with the court and approved by the guardian ad litem program.
Judge Scherer says she didn't even receive the home study report until after Antoine had died. At the time, reports indicate attorneys for DCF's contracted foster care operator said that was an oversight. The Broward medical examiner originally ruled the death undetermined, but now, over a decade later, 34-year-old Destiny Simmons is charged with murdering her son. So why now? What happened?
From what I understand, some additional information came out in the civil case, and the civil judge made findings that the child was in fact murdered by his mother.
Court documents show that civil case was brought by the child's father in a lawsuit he's filed against Florida's Department of Children and Families. So what do you think is going to happen with this case?
It's going to be an uphill battle for the prosecution, in my opinion.
Why is it an uphill battle?
There's no smoking gun. There's no confession by the mother. There's no, DNA evidence that was not available before. There's no videotape that they all of a sudden found. This evidence is very circumstantial.
Do you want to see this case tried?
I mean, I believe that this mother did it.
Was this one of the cases that made you want to leave this particular area as a judge?
Oh, absolutely. I was only a judge for 6 months when this happened, and it was on the front page of every paper that this child and his face, I can see his face still today. This little Antoine Hope, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it.
The mother is currently in jail. She faces charges of murder and aggravated child abuse. In Fort Lauderdale, Betty Nguyen, CBS News, Miami.
In Pembroke Pines, residents of an apartment complex have been forced to vacate their homes after their buildings were deemed unsafe. CBS News Miami's Joan Murray talked to some of the residents who say this feels unfair.
Moving is never easy, but between relentless rain and a narrow window, it can be overwhelming. The last of the residents in the troubled Heron Pond community have until midnight to be out. Jazz Alfonso said the city did help her find an affordable alternative.
When we moved in, it was just a balcony. Then it turned out to be more, and I don't know. It's just the last year I've been living in the unknown, so I'm just glad it's over.
The exodus has been going on a year after some buildings were found to be unsafe. On the outside, you can see cracks, rotted wood, and crumbling balconies. A full evacuation was ordered after a recent engineering report found widespread structural damage, a result of exposure to the elements, including moisture and termites. Inside, many units are well maintained, and that's what's so heartbreaking for owners like Gloria Bettencourt, who's been paying her mortgage. Michael Padilla is helping her move.
It's killing her. She was crying earlier. She's going through a very emotional state right now. She's paying us to help her move, and I'm kind of saddened because I have to get paid because I'm a worker, but it's still wrong. She's been here 18 years.
The city says water and electricity will be shut off soon. It's not known whether anyone will ever be able to return. The future of Heron Pond very much up in the air. I talked to the assistant city manager. He said he is working with residents, especially those who need to find affordable housing. It's very unclear what's going to happen here. The whole complex is in receivership. In Pembroke Pines, Joan Murray, CBS News, Miami.
When we come back, is the South Florida heat making you sad, mad, or both? We have some tips from experts that may help. That's next.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back. I'm Lauren Pastrana. It's been more than a week since South Floridians voted in favor of expanding rapid mass transit in Miami-Dade, specifically the metrorail and metromover. But there are still a lot of questions like, what's the next step and where would the money come from? CBS News Miami's Yvonne Taylor has some of those answers for us.
This is not only what makes George Mitchell's life easier, it's how he avoids dealing with Miami-Dade County's traffic.
I think that the metrorail system should run all the way to county line.
And he's not the only one who thinks like that.
There's a lot of people coming from every other place now in Miami.
Miami-Dade County residents voted in favor of expanding the county's public transit system last week.
I'm in support of that. I voted in favor of it.
Daryl Payne not only wants it expanded, he says this is a solution to time wasted on the roads.
I think there's just too much traffic on the roads, and we need to have more of an infrastructure, and we never built it out the right way.
Others wanted to get to farther destinations.
But I really think if we run that transit train all the way to county line, it will really alleviate some problems.
We know that we have to find ways to mitigate congestion in Miami-Dade County.
Miami-Dade County Commission Chairman Oliver Gilbert proposed and sponsored the question on the ballot. Now the obvious question is, how much will it cost?
We're probably looking at $6 billion tag or something like that.
Commissioner Gilbert said the response is a non-binding straw poll that showed, again, as it has happened in the past, residents agree there is an immediate need to improve and expand mass public transportation.
I can see someone saying, why put it in the ballot if we don't have the money?
I'm not saying there isn't any money. It's either going to come from the federal government, or most likely it will come from the federal government, the state government, and some local participation.
Yvonne Taylor, CBS News, Miami.
Summer in South Florida, sometimes it feels endless. Those triple-digit feels-like temperatures day after day can lead to seasonal affective disorder. And it's more common than you'd think. CBS News Miami's Naja Sherman spoke to the experts about these summertime blues and what you can do to cope.
It's another blazing hot day in South Florida. At Zoo Miami, grandparents Elizabeth Nook and her husband were playing with their grandson and persevering through the heat.
If you had to describe this heat, what's it like?
It's incredible. It's incredible, and it's hard to endure almost.
Our team of meteorologists confirmed that here in South Florida, we are dealing with the hottest weather on record. Time now for our favorite part of the day. We get to ask the question, how hot is it?
Triple digits, feel like about 105 to 110.
Mental health experts warn that South Florida's extreme heat can lead to something more serious. It's called seasonal affective disorder. And while many people think that's something those in the north only deal with during gloomy winters, it can affect South Floridians too, but during the summer months.
Seasonal affective disorder is a type of major depression that has a seasonal component to it. And we say that it's seasonal affective disorder when it occurs for 2 consecutive seasons within a 2-year period.
Dr. Bo Burr says the intense heat coupled with other seasonal stresses can push people to a dark place, even in the bright Florida sun.
I think there are a number of stressors that come into play. For example, we know that families that have younger children, you're trying to navigate the schedule of taking your kids to summer camp, and maybe you want to go on vacation, so there's definitely more stress. There's also the financial stress that might occur. I've got a lot of people who are wearing bathing suits, and so I've seen on a lot of my patients, they're very insecure about the way they look.
Experts say 10 million Americans suffer from seasonal affective disorder every year. It's 4 times more common in women than in men. So how do you know when it's time to seek help?
So what I tell people is you have to look at how it's affecting your daily functioning. If you're not able to meet your life obligations, your relationships, your job, school, your hygiene, all these things. If you're not able to meet those obligations, it's probably time to seek professional help.
He told me treatments range from changing your diet and exercise to certain medications and counseling to all of the above. So if these blistering hot days have you feeling a little down, anxious, or irritable, you are not alone.
Miserable, and very, very, very miserable.
You don't go out too frequently, and then you don't exercise maybe because it's too hot.
And if you think you might be dealing with something a little heavier, it's okay to ask for help.
Naja Sherman, CBS News Miami.
When we come back, see how a new officer's quick thinking helps save a life and the big honor he's now receiving. Next.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back. I'm Lauren Pastrana. A new Miami-Dade police officer is being called a hero for saving someone's life at the gym. It was while he was off duty, and he did all of this just after joining the force. CBS News Miami's Steve Magiri spoke to Officer Nilson Pacheco about what he did that day.
Officer Herrera Pacheco may be the fastest person that's ever won the Officer of the Month award from Miami-Dade Police. That's because he saved a life while off duty just a day after graduating from the police academy.
I am no hero or anything. This is what we were trained for.
Miami-Dade officer Nilson Ronaldo Herrera Pacheco was off duty and working out at this 24-hour fitness in Miami Gardens back in May when a fight broke out. Police say Andrew Rodriguez stabbed a man during the scuffle. Officer Herrera Pacheco ran to get a tourniquet from his car when he saw the man bleeding.
As he was walking out, he collapsed right in front of my vehicle.
Herrera Pacheco applied pressure to the wound in the armpit. He says he utilized his training here.
I was just asking him, hey, do you know your name? Do you know where you are? Do you know what year it is? Just some basic questions to kind of determine, just to keep him talking so he can stay with me.
The officer had just transferred to Miami-Dade Police from Hialeah Police, and he relied on that training on top of what he learned in Miami-Dade's academy. He got help from an off-duty Broward County deputy and a nurse that were also there. The victim survived.
This is something that I'm sure every single officer would have done.
Now he's taking home the hardware. He was awarded the Life-Saving Award and selected as Distinguished Officer of the Month. He says his instincts kicked in, even though he was off duty.
I didn't do that for anybody to give me kudos or anything. To me, it was just training. It's the job that we signed up for.
Andrew Rodriguez has been charged with attempted murder in connection to that stabbing. He turned himself into police just about a month after the incident. In Doral, Steve Magiri, CBS News Miami.
A 10-year-old got the chance to realize her dream of becoming a zookeeper, all thanks to Zoo Miami and Make-A-Wish Southern Florida. CBS News Miami's Terry Hornstein was there for the heartwarming story.
Mabel, trunk, up.
Oh my goodness.
Good girl, Mabel.
A 10-year-old future zookeeper experiencing a behind-the-scenes tour at Zoo Miami.
I got to feed a giraffe. I got to go see chimpanzee. And I got to see a bird that talks. I got to see an elephant. And I got to see lizards.
Lucy Austin flew down with her mom from Delaware.
Yes! Yes!
How did that feel?
Weird.
Lucy wasn't always able to do so much. When she was 6 years old, she started getting sick, throwing up blood.
It was like weird because I had to stay at the hospital a lot.
She went to the doctor, and her family found out she needed a liver transplant.
It was scary. I remember specifically one time where she was throwing up blood in the middle of the night. We called an ambulance. I am a nurse and I work at the hospital she went to, but it still was, when it's your own child, it's a very different thing and terrifying.
But luckily her dad was a match. Lucy had surgery, and now, 3 years later, making her wish come true.
I really like animals and I want to be a zookeeper.
It's amazing. This is the healthiest she's ever been in her entire life.
In Southwest Miami-Dade, Terry Hornstein, CBS News, Miami.
Love to hear that she's healthy. Thank you for joining us on this half hour on Headliners. As always, keep it right here to CBS News Miami for up-to-the-minute breaking news and weather 24 hours a day. Make it a great one.